Today is Tuesday, June 7th. We're talking about more important elections around the U.S. 7 more states are holding midterm primaries today that could set the stage for this fall. Also, what to know about the British Prime Minister's recent victory and why some say he still won't hold on to his job for long. Plus, an unheard of result in a cancer drug trial, where the largest 4-day workweek experiment is happening as of this week. And the key announcements from Apple, from unsending your iMessages to a new way to pay, and more. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. The midterm primary season enters a new phase this week with voters in 7 more states headed to the polls. It's Election Day in California, Iowa, Mississippi, Montana, New Jersey, New Mexico, and South Dakota. Of course, the results from today's votes will set the stage for U.S. House and Senate races this fall that determine who will control Congress for the next couple of years. On the House side, there are actually 77 congressional districts at stake today, and the Cook Political Report says about 19 of them are expected to be competitive. But political analysts say others look a little more predictable. Like in California, Democratic Senator Alex Padilla is on the ballot. He's the lawmaker who was appointed to serve the remainder of Kamala Harris's term when she became vice president. Now he's expected to win a full term. Also, the oldest Republican senator, 88-year-old Chuck Grassley, is running for his 8th term in Iowa. He's expected to be safe, too. Today, there are plenty of governors and mayors up for re-election as well, along with several other state and local politicians and ballot measures to consider. The British Prime Minister clung onto his job this week by surviving a vote forced by members of his own ruling party. They've been upset because Prime Minister Boris Johnson attended several parties during the UK's strict COVID-19 lockdown. Well, Johnson's fellow Conservative lawmakers held what's known as a no-confidence vote. And in the end, Johnson won it 211 to 148. And that means he will not be challenged for at least a year. But the fact that the vote happened at all could be telling, since when previous Conservative prime ministers faced no-confidence votes, they did not keep their jobs for long after, even when they won. So several politicians and pundits are predicting Johnson's political demise. Still, Johnson is staying positive. As he put it yesterday, quote, "As a government, we can move on and focus on the stuff that I think really matters." Members of a far-right group are now facing some of the most serious charges yet in connection with the Capitol riot. And reports say it's a sign that the Justice Department is escalating its investigation. The former leader of the right-wing group Proud Boys and 4 other one-time Proud Boys members were indicted on seditious conspiracy charges, which are especially rare. They're only directed against people who plan to use force to overthrow the government. Well, the new indictment says the Proud Boys directed, mobilized, and led a mob into the Capitol building, destroying property and assaulting law enforcement officers. If they are found guilty, they could each face up to 20 years in prison. But a lawyer for the ex-leader of the Proud Boys says he's ready to fight this, that his client, quote, looks forward to being vindicated of these allegations. This all comes just days before the lawmakers investigating the January 6th attack hold a televised hearing that will focus somewhat on the role of the Proud Boys. That public hearing is airing during primetime this Thursday. The White House is hoping to support solar power in the U.S. by giving the industry a boost. President Biden invoked the Defense Production Act to increase manufacturing of U.S. solar panels and other clean energy technology. Remember, we're talking about the law that lets the White House order private companies to do something when the president feels it's for the good of the country. On top of that, the president is allowing solar parts from Cambodia, Thailand, Vietnam, and Malaysia to be imported duty-free for 2 years. And that means they'll be able to get around a Commerce Department investigation. The department has been scrutinizing imports of solar panels from the Southeast Asian countries over concerns that Chinese manufacturers have been improperly funneling parts through their neighbors as a way to avoid their own tariffs. And that investigation could have meant retroactive tariffs up to 240%. The AP says that could have seriously hurt up to 80% of planned solar projects around the U.S. Now, at least for the next 2 years, that won't be a concern even as this investigation continues. The president's announcement is getting some mixed reactions. The CEO of the American Clean Power Association praised the decision, saying it'll bring some predictability and business certainty back, rejuvenating the solar industry. But a couple solar panel manufacturers are not happy. They say Biden is opening the door for Chinese-funded special interests to defeat U.S. trade law. Either way, companies that build or support solar projects all posted gains on Wall Street soon after the president's announcement. Twitter also saw some movement on Wall Street this week in the opposite direction. This latest drop came just yesterday, right after Elon Musk formally threatened to back out of the deal to buy Twitter. His lawyers sent a letter to the social media company and regulators at the SEC telling them he has a right to terminate the agreement. To be clear, Musk has been tweeting about the deal being on hold for a while. But this is the first time there's been a formal legal suggestion that the $44 billion offer might not be set in stone. The main issue here, Musk wants Twitter to give him more information about the number of spam bots and fake accounts on the platform. Twitter says fewer than 5% of its daily active users are spam, but Musk thinks it's more like 20% or higher. Musk says until he gets info he can independently verify, he cannot move forward getting financing for the deal. In response, Twitter says it still plans on sticking with the original terms of the agreement. One big question here is exactly how much information is Musk entitled to? And it's possible that question might have to be answered in court. A 100% effective cancer drug, the iPhone's latest upgrades, and much more news still coming up. But first, a quick break for our sponsor. Are you ready for summer? Whether you're staying home this year or heading out on a bunch of adventures, KiwiCo has something for your family. At home, I know it can be hard to find creative ways to keep children busy and challenged, so KiwiCo's monthly science and art projects have you covered. For those venturing out, everything you need to create something conveniently comes inside the crate so you can easily take it with you. We're talking kid-friendly materials and easy-to-follow instructions. KiwiCo is the perfect boredom buster for the entire family, whether you're at home or on the go. I've loved seeing how the KiwiCo crates have changed over time to match the age of my baby Dax. And when I sent my niece a KiwiCo subscription for her birthday, who's a bit older, she gets real science and engineering projects that she's sure to tell me all about. KiwiCo offers experiments with things like mirrors, bubbles, ice cream, and a domino machine. So make summer more awesome with KiwiCo. Get 30% off your first month plus free shipping on any crate line with code NEWSWORTHY at kiwico.com. There's no commitment, so you can pause or cancel anytime. Get 30% off your first month at kiwico.com with the promo code NEWSWORTHY. It might be the first time this has ever happened. Every single cancer patient who took part in a trial saw their cancer vanish. An author of the study told the New York Times he doesn't know of any other treatment that was 100% effective, leading to complete remission in every patient. They received an immunotherapy drug called Jemperli. That said, it was a small study that mentions only 12 rectal cancer patients. All of them had not had chemotherapy, radiation, or surgery yet. Well, after 6 months or more of follow-ups, it looks like none of them will need to. They continue to show no signs of the cancer. But again, it was a small trial, so more research is needed. A new report found a pretty big chunk of COVID-19 vaccines were wasted. NBC News looked at CDC data and reported that 82 million vaccines, or more than 11% of the doses the federal government sent out, ended up in the trash between December 2020 through mid-May of this year. The report says 2 retail pharmacy chains, CVS and Walmart, were responsible for more than a quarter of the doses tossed. CVS, for example, said it chose to prioritize offering shots to anyone who wanted them, even when that meant opening a multi-dose vial for a single person at the end of the day. And if other doses couldn't be used within hours, they expired and had to be thrown away. Other reasons for the waste include power outages or broken freezers and just falling demand for the shots. That said, the overall amount of waste is in line with what the World Health Organization considers likely with vaccination campaigns of this magnitude. It's the biggest 4-day workweek experiment in the world. More than 70 companies and their more than 3,000 workers are taking part in this new pilot program in the UK as of this week. It means cutting workers' hours from 40 to 32, or cutting them by 20%, without cutting their pay. And the employees are being asked to keep the same productivity level. A New Zealand-based nonprofit called 4-Day Workweek Global is leading this trial. The organization told Fox Business it thinks it'll show an increase in employee well-being without a decrease in productivity, as similar trials have shown in the past. The new study will last 6 months, so stay tuned. Some big announcements from Apple on day one of their developer conference. First up, iOS 16. That's Apple's next software update for the iPhone. And as expected, there are several changes coming with it, including the ability to edit your iMessages or even unsend them. You can also mark them as unread again, kind of like you do in email, so you can easily find it later. You can also customize the look of your lock screen, add new widgets like weather or your calendar, and more. You'll also have a new option for Apple Pay, giving you the ability to buy now, pay later. And that's just a few of the many new features coming to the iPhone. Apple also announced some new things for iPads, Apple Watches, and teased its latest Mac software called OS Ventura. In fact, Apple unveiled some new hardware, too, a thinner, lighter, and faster MacBook Air. But many people also noticed what Apple did not announce during the keynote yesterday: the hotly anticipated and rumored mixed reality headset capable of both virtual and augmented reality. That's it for the main news today, but now it's time for Trivia Tuesday, when we ask a different trivia question every week. But first, I'm excited to have my husband, Dan, on the show this week to help me talk about Pampers Cruisers 360 Fit Diapers, our sponsor for the week. Dan, if we have to change diapers, why not make it as easy as possible? So that's why I appreciate some of the extra features here that you don't get with every diaper.
The traditional diaper style has those kind of tape sides, and our little guy tears at them now. He pulls at them. And with these Pampers diapers, he can't do that. There's nothing to pull at. That design is really good for where we're at right now with him.
And something else I've noticed is we are seeing fewer rashes on our baby's legs because it's not rubbing. It just stretches really nicely around his waist. And I also have noticed, Dan, that we haven't had as many leaks with these diapers because you know how fun it is to have to deal with leaks when they wake up with wet spots on their outfit and pajamas.
Yeah, it's not great. These haven't had that issue.
And these are hypoallergenic, so free of elemental chlorine, bleaching, parabens, and latex. So buy in-store and download the Pampers Club app today to start earning rewards with every diapers and wipes purchase. Okay, now back to Trivia Tuesday. Today's trivia question is, what are the names of Cinderella's stepsisters? You can answer the question and play along on Instagram. Find and follow us at NewsworthyPod. Just look for the trivia quiz in our Instagram stories today. As for last week's trivia question, Area 51 is located in which U.S. state? The answer is Nevada. Area 51 is a highly classified U.S. military facility about 120 miles northwest of Las Vegas. And since the 1950s, it's been a topic of fascination among conspiracy theorists and paranormal enthusiasts. Many believe it's where the U.S. government stores and hides aliens and UFOs. But as historians explain it, Area 51 is where the military has tested new and secretive aircraft, which could be what people are actually saying when they think they've spotted UFOs from another planet. But there's also all the secrecy around Area 51 that seems to cause even more intrigue. Today, Area 51 is still used as an open training range for the U.S. Air Force, but the public still cannot get anywhere near it. It's patrolled and guarded by some of the heaviest security on Earth. All right, thank you so much for listening today and for always making us part of your routine and for sharing the show. We'll be back with another news roundup tomorrow. Until then, have a great day.